Hello and welcome to how to use Sony Vegas. I'm going to be using Sony Vegas version 12. This is Vegas Pro, build 770. It's for the 64-bit Windows 7. I am Steph, the video guy, and here we go. So I've just opened Vegas 12, and it appears very similar to every other piece of editing software you've seen, I'm sure. If you've seen, a lot of folks have seen Premiere because that's been one of the most popular PC programs for editing. I personally don't care for it. I taught it for a couple of years, and yeah, it's not my favorite, definitely not. But here we go for Vegas. I'm going to show you the palettes quickly, so that way you see what they are. We've got Windows Explorer that works the same as Windows Explorer. You basically can go through and see what we've got. Basically, it'll show, you can do details. And so here we've got, let's see, oh yeah, it'll show the preview. I'm going to try to, all right. Okay, so this is a good example. You can see that audio proxy is being built. I just installed the new version, so yeah, so here's Trimmer. Now Trimmer is the Sony Vegas way of doing off timeline trimming. So I'll show you how it works. Here's a preview of this little Windows Media file that I made. Oh yeah, okay, so it's just the animation portion. I made this little animation in Adobe After Effects, and then I dropped it in. I think it's in, yeah, it's in Windows Media format, but usually I use this one right here. I use MOV, QuickTime settings. That way I can get alphas and whatever else I want. So here's Trimmer. Now you can see there's a time, and then it shows little thumbnails if you expand this out. You see the, but basically you select whatever time you want. You know, this particular piece doesn't really make too much sense, and then you just drag it. It's a nice thing about Sony Vegas is you can just drag and drop. And so once I've dropped it down here, I'm hitting the space bar. You can hit this. We'll restart at the same point. You can see our preview is right here. There we go. So I just dropped it down here, and it created a new video track. You can also, I'm right-clicking, so you can insert video track. Now, I've never used it on a Mac, but apparently the Mac version operates pretty much the same way. So it'll be command, I believe, command-click. So right-click, and then you've got insert video track. Insert envelopes, which we can talk about later, switches, all sorts of fun little things. You could, these are just views, so that way you can show a display color for your track. All right, so I was going through, our second palette is Project Media, so it'll show the media. I just dropped this one in, so it shows that right there. We've got transitions. Transition, I'm gonna have to drop something else in. Oh, let's see. Let's say there's some GoPro footage here. There's me upside down. Oh yeah, that's not. Here's another. Some more GoPro footage. Oh, okay, well, let's just drop that in. Oh, that's a long, I made a little time lapse, so there we go. There we go. So we've got this. You see it fades in, and it does auto fades. When you drop it down, it'll create auto fades, and it'll tell you how long that fade is. Now you got 2-second fade there, 2-second 8 frames, so there we go. And you'll notice in the preview right here, it shows you what the frame rate is at. because my computer is pretty decent, we're seeing a full preview. Let's go best auto, and we'll see what our frame rate does. So our frame rate's full, and then it hits, yeah, it kind of goes a little crunchy, and then bumps right up. So I'm going to open up this. So I'm going to hit Control. There we go. So this is the shot that I was getting. It's not a good shot, but it's a shot. It's basically just showing the buildings and whatnot. The thing about GoPro is you don't know what your footage looks like until you get it home. So, all right, so this is the pan crop. Now the reason I opened the pan crop was to turn this footage over, but you can see the pan crop is the basic way that you manipulate the individual event. So we can go into that, and probably I'll do a pan crop how-to right away here. Trimmer, I showed you trimmer. Now this video event effects. Now the effects is pan crop. You can also add other effects, and this panel comes up when you hit this little button right there. Yeah, there we go, event effects. So now we can, for instance, let's go film grain. Hit OK. Oh, now you can see that there's some film grain in there. We've got some, get worse as we get up. There we go. See that, and you can change the type of grain, thick grain or thin grain. How chromy the particles are. Yeah, not my favorite, but there we go. Let's see the other ones. We've got the preview, the preview window, and the preview window basically is going to show us what we're previewing from this window. So you can see that we've got the frame count, we've got what our display is at, and what our frame rate is at. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so it's got all the controls in it. It's basically the same controls that we have down here, which I haven't shown you, but these controls are pretty straightforward. Record if you got a camera connected, loop playback, which I like sometimes, especially when I'm building effects. So for instance, if this were being crunchy like that, I can loop this, and then each time it goes through that loop, it builds more of it up. Now that's the cool thing about Vegas, is that it's constantly building your frames, so that way it's building them on the fly. So that way you don't have to wait for things to pre-render to be able to see what the effect is. It's constantly working at it. Oh, over here we've got the master. Basically, I don't tend to use this particular slider. This is the audio output master, but it'll tell you whether or not your audio is too loud or not. Let's see. There might be some audio on here. I'm going to just select the audio. You select the audio by moving it down lower like that. Let's see. Yeah, there's no audio on there. I'll focus on audio some other time. But by popping it down here, it created a audio layer, which is quite important when you're dealing with things. Over here, we've got our time. So we've got seconds. We've got frames. So it's seconds then frames. I'm going to hit right on the keyboard, and we'll see. As we zoom in, this is the wheel. The wheel creates a zoom. We can see it. We can do it by frame. And because it's selected, it's actually set to set to snap onto frames. So that's the way that's set up. As for the main section, I think that's pretty much all there is to show. Media generators. There's also, you can put there's a prototype titler. I'll make a new layer here. Let's take a look at that. So there we go. We got a new layer. I'm gonna pull this down because that'll show you. And so there's sample text. All right. And so I'm gonna move this right here so that way we can see it. Oh yeah, there's our sample text right there. There we go. Usually I like to have 2 monitors because this program takes up a lot of real estate. You can't zoom in on these, so basically you can affect where it is. You see the offset there, and yeah, all sorts of different effects on it, layouts, that sort of thing. Some animation as well. You can animate all of these, so you can animate where things are. That's also another great thing about Sony Vegas, is that it does automatic animations. So I'm going to be focusing on further videos on specific aspects of this. I'm going to, I'll be looking at certain media generators. I'll be looking at the pan crop. I think maybe the pan crop will be the next one I do. But, and then I'll probably look at the pan crop, and then I'll look at something called track motion. And track motion's pretty intense. But I'll also show you how to do certain other types of effects, and we'll go from there. So, yeah, nice opacity. Thank you very much for joining me. I've been Steph the Video Guy. Check out one of my other videos and subscribe to my channel. Thanks a lot.